go ahead and start reassembling everything here. Now, yeah, I don't have. I mean, I've got little impact drivers and stuff like that I could use, but for time's sake, for video, I should. Everybody know nowadays uses impacts, and if you're working in a regular repair shop or whatever, that's pretty much a must or requirement now. Everybody uses them to break saws down quick or whatever, and even in the reassembly process. But I'm not a real big fan of using impact drivers for everything. So they have their place, but if you get carried away with them, you can do a lot of damage too, especially in these magnesium cases on any of these saws. So anyways, we're just using basic hand tools here, good old T27 here. So this is an actual Stihl wrench here that I got here a number of years back here. You can order these from right from the Stihl dealer. Part number is 5910-890-2400. Don't know if that shows up in the camera there or not. My lighting is not the best here in the shop, but anyways, not a horribly expensive tool. You can get them from Stihl at the time, like for like $5 or $6 or whatever. They're pretty good quality steel. This is what their mechanics use or whatever, apparently. So it is their tool. So. Got to be careful. You don't want to get too carried away here, because you can strip these out, and this is how a lot of people, you don't want them getting loose, but you don't want to over torque them and strip the buggers either. So just go around it, make sure everything is snug down. There we go. Okay, we got that. In the last video, I pulled the spark plug in the front of the exhaust cover on it and checked the piston and cylinder, what I could see with my little light there. And the front of the piston literally has all the factory machine marks on it, and is in like new conditions. So, anyways, I went ahead and cleaned up my air filter, as I mentioned in the last video there as well. It was absolutely well, it was black and greasy and oily. I guess it picked up all the crap or crud from the fan, from the recoil. We were blowing it up through the air box there, because like I say, that the oil tank cap is leaking a little bit there, and I'll have to pull that off and clean that little rubber O-ring that little flat gasket there. If it's hard or whatever, I actually have some new spare ones or whatever. Not aftermarket ones, actual OEM from Stihl. I've got a package of O-rings for both the oil caps and the gas caps on these. I think they use the same caps through all these series of saws. So, but anyways, we'll go ahead and continue on here with this. So. So, anyways, yeah, I guess it's kind of a boring video or whatever here. We're just doing a common service or whatever for these saws. So, and there's probably 1,000 videos on YouTube or whatever, everybody doing this or whatever. But anyways, this is part of what I do or whatever on a regular basis, just maintaining, looking after saws. Anyways, better not forget to I had the spark plug out and checked it. This is the original spark plug, and it's barely has even any carbon on it. It's the old style or older Bosch plug or whatever, not the newer ones now. Apparently these new Bosch plugs or whatever, I don't know which country they're manufacturing them in, but I've heard some of the saw shops talking about these new Bosch plugs now. Apparently the porcelains for whatever reason, rattle loose, come out and destroy perfectly good saws or whatever. I think even Donnie Walker was talking about it a while earlier this summer on his channel or whatever, that they noticed in their shop they've had several saws come through with the spark plugs coming apart. Cheap manufacturing process. The old Bosch plugs were never a problem. They were good plugs along with the old NGKs. Now apparently some of the new NGKs now, where they're making them in Brazil or something or whatever, some of their small engine plugs are starting to be the same problem. They're starting to come apart or whatever and destroy various power equipment. So pretty disheartening or whatever when you have a nice low hour unit, and or if you buy a brand new saw and pay good money, and now they're getting to the point where new saws are getting pretty damn pricey. So to have crap like that going on is pretty friggin' disgusting. But anyways, covers on this thing are pretty much mint. I cleaned them up, but they were just a little bit dirty. Even the back side and the inside of them wasn't even all that bad, just a little bit of grime on them, and I wiped them down and blew them off with the compressed air and wiped the whole saw down, blew all whatever I could with the high compressed air and get everything nice and cleaned up. So we'll continue on here putting this saw back together here, and this can be a bit of a bugger for getting these covers back on these. For whatever reason, they're a bit tight. There we go. They're a bit of a snug fit to get them in. So, but anyways, I've gone through this and checked everything out, and the best I can or whatever without tearing the whole saw right down. So, but anyways, this saw is, like I say, in very, very nice condition. So, again, I'm very pleased that I'm able to have acquired this saw. Kind of a fluke or whatever, so to speak, but okay, that's that. And this is the 036 Pro. The older 036 AVs had the round knob button on the back of the cover. This one just has that quarter turn or half turn quick lock or whatever on the Pro series, like the 026 Pros that were the non-Pro with the non-adjustable oiler. They just had the round button. All the Pro line Stihls and those from the 026s and 036, and I forget, there's a few other ones or whatever. The Pro models had these, like I say, these quick lock quarter turn covers here, just like that. Boom. The other ones had the round knob where you'd turn them half a turn and they'd lock in too, but a little bit different style. This was just before they were going to upgrade to the MS360 with the newer, little bit more rounded covers and stuff. So, but anyways, there we go. We're gonna get on here with getting the clutch drum back on. That was the first thing I pulled off. Like I say, I had a piece of rope wrapped up in the sprocket, and something didn't feel right when I was turning it over by hand. Like something was binding. And like I say, this is now like the third or fourth saw that I picked up of. I had a couple of different Husqvarnas and Stihls and stuff or whatever where they've had pieces of rope. I don't know what the hell people are cutting in their backyards and on trees, probably where there was a kid's swing or something or whatever. Who knows what, a piece of rope around a garden or something they're holding a gate together with or whatever. And gets caught in the chain and sucked in, and people don't take it apart and clean it out or whatever and run it that way. And that's a good way to eventually get wrapped up in behind the clutch and oiler and wipe out a seal. I've seen them a couple of saws where it literally worked its way all the way into almost taking out the seal. Not quite, but if it would have been run any more or any length of time, if I hadn't checked into it, it definitely would have been an issue. So, okay. Anyways, we're going to get on with putting this clutch back together here. Now, again, as usual, even though the saw hasn't been used much, and I don't think anybody ever greased this clutch bearing. It's in nice shape, but it had a whole bunch of that plastic or synthetic rope, nylon or polyester rope, so much wrapped into the end of the bearing that it had melted and glued itself to the end of the needle bearing. So, anyways, here I've got a little bit of grease here that I use here, red tack grease. You can use any grease. Any grease is better than no grease on these needle bearings. Now, like I say, these Stihls or whatever, they don't have the On a lot of the Husqvarnas on the end of the crankshaft, they have a little pilot hole here with a cross hole drilled through the cross end through the crankshaft, and you can use your bar tip greasing, the little pump gun there, to put a couple squirts of grease in there, and don't overdo it though, folks. Just one pump is all you need to keep these up, and I do it 2 or 3 times during the course of the life of a chain. Whenever I flip my bar, I'll pull these Stihls. It's not hard. You just pull the E-clip and pull the clutch drum off and grease up this little needle bearing. Now it's doesn't hurt nothing to smear a little bit. You don't want to get carried away and have it all slobbered in here, because then it just oozes or mushes out, and you make a bigger mess or whatever with if it gets up under your clutch drum inside here. So now again, with these here, they've got a little notch cut in the clutch drum, and you got to make sure that you get that lined up with your driver there, your oil pump drive. So I'll just get this in there. For whatever reason, these always like. Oh yeah, it would help to release the chain brake. Now you got to get that thing engaged there, because you don't want to force it in, because what's going to happen. I believe I'm there. Yeah. If you're not, you can, you usually, whatchamacallit. There we go. Well, the bar that's on here was supposed to be the original bar, and it's still not in that horrible a shape. It's worn a bit. I addressed it the other day here when I initially took it apart. The bar rails are worn a bit. 50 gauge was getting a little bit slack in there, flopping around. I knew just by trying it, it wasn't going to cut. Probably would be cutting a little bit cockeyed in the going sideways in the cut a bit. So I tried a 58 gauge half used. I had an old LGX Oregon chain here in a 58 gauge that was the drivers were worn a little bit. So I tried that 58 gauge in this 50 gauge bar for this saw, and fits perfect. So we'll be running that setup or whatever. So like I say, this is an OEM Stihl sprocket. It's a 3/8 by 7 tooth. It's about 50% worn, but I'm going to run it for now because I have the other chain is used anyways. If I was putting a new chain on her, then I would put a new drive sprocket. But seeing that I'm going to be running a used chain, I'll reuse this sprocket for now. Put that on. Get our this washer here. Get that back on. And then get our little E-clip here. Now these can be a little bit of a bugger or whatever. They can go flying if you're not careful. So we're going to try not to have it go flying across the shop here. I don't know if I have any spares or not. I might in my collection, but not so sure about that. There we go. And just like that, we're back together. There we go. So there we have it. We're gonna get the bar and chain on it here, and I'll bring you back here shortly. So hang on, folks. Here we go, folks. Okay, I had to take a run at this 3 times here or whatever. I had a Oregon LGX, an old one, but apparently it had one extra link and it was throwing me for a loop here. I was going around in circles here for a few minutes here, figuring out what the heck was going on. So I took and pulled it off and counted the links out, and it had one extra link. It was for I guess for an older Oregon bar or whatever, one of those. Anyways, they required one extra link in them, so that's what that chain was from, or for, I guess. So I went and I found this is an Oregon LGX chain here. It's an older one too, or whatever, but it is the right count. It's a 60 driver, so. So anyways, we got that's a little bit of a mystery squared away there. So there. Now you just want to get this, get the slack out of there just enough that this bar is dry now, because I've it's gonna bind a little bit here. I'm not gonna make it too tight because, like I say, I am running a 58 gauge chain in a 50 gauge bar, and just for the first few revs when I start the saw, I'll let it seat itself in, and away we go. Then after that, we'll take up any of the excess slack. There really isn't any right now. It's not overly tight. You don't want them too tight because you're going to bugger up your. It's hard on your crank bearings and it's hard on your clutch drum bearing, for no good reason. So, okay, there we go. A nice low hour 036 Stihl Pro. We got it all back together and we're ready to head out and try it in some wood here or whatever in the next coming videos here down the road. Don't know when I'll get a chance to run it because I'm always busy with all kinds of things, but we'll get at it here. Well folks, there we have it. One saw serviced and ready to go. That little 036 Stihl there should make a great saw for me there in the future, so we'll have some footage of it here coming up here in the next little while here, and we'll have it up and running, and that's it for this little two-part series or whatever on that, and we got plenty more saw content coming up here in the coming videos here, and like I say, we'll have a scattering of other content or whatever throughout the winter here from earlier in the summer of me doing all kinds of different things. So anyways folks, thank you for stopping in once again and checking out the videos. If you don't mind, you know the routine. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Goes a long ways for us small YouTube content providers. So anyways everybody, till the next time, take care.